It's June 2019. Michael Conwald takes his own life, and his mother Inez hides the note he leaves behind. Months pass. Michael's son, Jonas, returns to high school in Wyndon after time in psychiatric treatment. He tries to slip back into normal life, but the town already feels tense. News spreads that Eric Obendorf, the school's drug dealer, has been missing for weeks. Police officer Ulrich Nielsen takes the case, though he struggles to focus because he's secretly involved with Jonas's mother, Hannah. At home, Ulrich's wife, Katarina, runs the high school as principal, and they have 3 kids, Martha, Magnus, and the youngest, Mikkel. One night, the Nielsen kids, Jonas, Bartosz Tiedemann, and Franziska Doppler head into the forest to look for Eric's hidden stash. Everything shifts when strange sounds echo around them and bright flashes light up the darkness. Panic breaks out. The group runs, and somewhere in the chaos, Mikkel disappears. By the next morning, the police start a full search of the woods. But instead of finding Michael, they discover the body of another young boy, dressed in clothes that look straight out of the 1980s. His identity is unknown, and the scene raises more questions than answers. The child's face shows severe damage around the eyes, and there's blood around the ears, details that leave the officers shaken. Mikkel's disappearance hits Ulrich harder than anyone expects. It pulls him straight back to 1986, the year his younger brother Mads vanished without a trace. Now Ulrich starts to believe that everything is connected. Eric missing, Mikkel missing, and the unknown dead boy found in the forest. Ulrich returns to the caves, determined to search every corner. Deep inside, he discovers a locked metal door hidden behind the rock. The trail leads straight to Wyndon's nuclear power plant. The plant director, Alexander Tiedemann, Bartosz's father, blocks him and refuses to approve any investigation, giving no explanation. At the police station, the police chief, Charlotte Doppler, is briefed on the unidentified boy found in the woods. When she leaves the building, the streetlights along the road flicker one after another, and dead birds drop from the sky around her. Something strange is happening in Wyndon again. That same evening, a hooded stranger arrives in town. He checks into the hotel that Regina Tiedemann owns, saying almost nothing, carrying only a case. Ulrich visits his mother, Jana, hoping for clarity about the night Mads disappeared. Jana tells him that her husband, Tronte, was with her the whole night, but Ulrich knows she's lying. Tronte wasn't home for hours back then. At dawn, inside the cave, Mikkel wakes up confused and afraid. He runs back to his house, expecting everything to be normal, but when he reaches the doorstep, a newspaper lying outside shows the date, 5th of November, 1986. Mikkel hasn't just disappeared. He has fallen through time. 4 weeks after Mads Nielsen vanished in 1986, Mikkel, still trapped in that year, walks into the Wyndon police station, hoping someone can tell him how to get home. Police officer Egon Tiedemann questions him, convinced that teenage Ulrich Nielsen beat the boy up. Egon brings Mikkel to the hospital, where nurse Ines Conwald takes him in and cares for him. At the nuclear plant, the newly appointed director, Claudia Tiedemann, meets Helga Doppler, a quiet security guard who hands her a book titled A Journey Through Time by H.G. Tannhaus. Across town, strange events mirror what happens in 2019. Young Charlotte Doppler watches birds fall from the sky. At school, Hannah develops a crush on teenage Ulrich, while Regina Tiedemann becomes the target of bullying from Ulrich and Katarina. Somewhere else, in an isolated room filled with clocks, a man works on a small machine, its purpose unknown. Back at the hospital, Mikkel decides to try the caves again. He sneaks out, returns to the entrance, and attempts to retrace his path. But he falls, injures himself, and begins calling for help. In 2019, Ulrich is inside the same cave system at the same moment. He stops, hearing faint echoes. Mikkel's voice, but the two cannot see each other. They stand in the same place, but in different times, separated by 33 years. In 2019, Jonas spreads the maps and notes he found in his house across his desk. All of them point back to the caves. He studies every line and marking, trying to understand what his father was investigating before he died. At the police station, Charlotte Doppler looks for a link between the missing children and the dead birds found around town. The birds all have the same injury: ruptured eardrums. Something powerful is affecting both animals and people. Charlotte's marriage to Peter Doppler is falling apart. She recently discovered he has been seeing Bernadette, a transgender sex worker. On top of that, she finds evidence that Peter was out driving the night Mikkel vanished, even though he claimed he stayed home. Her trust in him cracks even more. Their older daughter, Franziska, tells Magnus Nielsen that she wants to leave Wyndon altogether. She's tired of her parents' constant fighting and wants out of the town's heavy atmosphere. Later that day, panic rises when Franziska's younger sister, Elizabeth, doesn't come home from school. She is deaf, and the family fears the worst. Hours later, she returns, exhausted but unharmed. She tells her parents she met a mysterious man named Noah. He gave her a watch that once belonged to Charlotte. Meanwhile, Peter's father, Helge Doppler, now elderly and struggling with dementia, is found wandering in the woods. He repeats that he must find Noah and stop him, but no one believes him or understands what he means.
Noah.
In 1986, Mikkel is brought back to the hospital after injuring himself near the caves. A priest named Noah visits him, calm and soft-spoken, asking gentle questions about Mikkel's life and family. Back at the high school, teenage Hannah sets a lie in motion. Out of jealousy and loneliness, she tells the police that Ulrich raped Katharina. The accusation quickly spirals, and Ulrich becomes a suspect. In 2019, another child disappears. Yasin, a friend of Elizabeth, talks to Noah on his way home and is never seen again. Charlotte begins to accuse Peter of hiding something, but he insists he has nothing to do with the disappearances. At Regina Tiedemann's hotel, the hooded stranger hands Regina a package and tells her to deliver it to Jonas. She doesn't know him, but something about him makes her follow his instructions. Bartosz Tiedemann, meanwhile, meets Eric Obendorf's drug supplier, and the man turns out to be Noah. Noah's presence in Wyndon grows stranger the more people he approaches. A few days later, Jonas receives the package. Inside, he finds a small lamp, a Geiger counter, and a sealed letter. The letter is his father's suicide note. When he reads it, everything changes. The note reveals that Michael Kahnwald is actually Mikkel Nielsen, the boy who disappeared and accidentally ended up in 1986. He grew up in the past, married Hannah, became Jonas's father, and has now taken his own life in 2019. Jonas realizes he exists only because Mikkel never found a way home. In 2019, Ulrich digs deeper into his family's past. He learns that his father, Tronte, was having an affair with Claudia Tiedemann in 1986, the same time Mads disappeared. He confronts Regina Tiedemann, since she was the last person to see Mads alive. Instead of helping, Regina tells him the truth about something else. It was Hannah who falsely accused him of raping Katharina back in their teenage years. Ulrich then goes to the morgue to look at the unidentified dead boy from the forest. When the sheet is pulled back, he freezes. It is Mads, the same age he was in 1986. His body has not aged at all. Meanwhile, Jonas enters the caves carrying the tools and map the stranger gave him. Deep inside, he finds a small metal door with Latin words carved across the front, Sic mundus creatus est. Thus, the world was created. Jonas steps through the passage and eventually emerges outside into 1986. Posters for Mads Nielsen cover the walls and trees. As rain begins to fall, a van pulls over beside him. Inside are 14-year-old Hannah and her father, Sebastian. They offer him a ride and warn him that the rain might be contaminated after the recent Chernobyl disaster. Jonas, now trapped in the past, silently gets in. In 1986, Helgi, working at the plant the night Mads disappears, is questioned by Egon about his movements. Jonas meets the stranger who confirms that Mikkel is his father and warns that taking him back to 2019 will erase Jonas's existence. In 2019, the police finally gain clearance to search the power plant. Charlotte Doppler finds a welded door in the caves. Ulrich investigates Helge, now in a nursing home, learning he was a suspect in Mads's disappearance but never properly questioned. Ulrich tries to confront him, but the nurses eject him, and he is suspended. Charlotte discovers that the cave system runs under Helge's cabin and receives a voicemail from Ulrich, revealing Helge as the kidnapper in both 1986 and 2019. That night, Helge leaves the nursing home, with Ulrich following. In 1953, the bodies of Eric and Yasin are discovered near the nuclear plant construction site. Egon Tiedemann investigates. Ulrich travels through the caves to 1953, encountering his grandmother Agnes and Father Tronte, who are renting a room in the Tiedemann house. He also meets H.G. Tannhaus before he writes A Journey Through Time. Young Ines Conwald and Jana Nielsen tell Ulrich about the boys' bodies. Ulrich finds young Helge Doppler and believes killing him could stop the killings. He chases Helge and leaves him injured in the bunker behind the Doppler cabin. In 1986, the stranger meets an older H.G. Tannhaus, explaining that a wormhole exists in Wyndon, allowing 33-year interval time travel. He asks Tannhaus to repair a machine that could destroy the wormhole. In 1986, teenage Ulrich is released without charges. Hannah notices a young man calling himself Alexander Kuhler, living under a false identity. Bernd admits the hidden barrels contain small meltdown byproducts, and Claudia secretly hires Alexander to weld the door shut. Noah explains to Helge that the abducted boys died during his failed time machine experiments, claiming his mission is to save humanity, like the biblical Noah. In 2019, Hannah blackmails Alexander to ruin Ulrich's life, lying to Katharina about him. Regina uncovers the stranger's research. Jonas breaks up with Martha. Bartosz meets elderly Claudia, his supposedly dead grandmother, and later joins Noah. In 1953, Helge is reported missing by his mother. Noah appears, unchanged in age. Ulrich is arrested for Helge's murder, though Helge survives and the killings continue. In 2019, Claudia enters Tannhaus's shop with blueprints for the brass machine, asking him to build it. On the night Mikkel disappears, Peter Doppler visits Helge's cabin when Mads' body appears. He calls Tronte, and Claudia tells them to move the corpse to be found the next day. In 1986, elderly Helgi dies, trying to stop his younger self, crashing his car. Jonas returns to 1986 to bring Mikkel to 2019, but is kidnapped by Noah and Helgi. Jonas wakes in the bunker with the stranger, who reveals himself as adult Jonas. The stranger leaves to destroy the wormhole with Tannhaus's repaired brass machine and Ulrich's smartphone. Claudia starts reading Tannhaus's book. In 2019, Noah tells Bartosz that Claudia is the real threat and sent adult Jonas to unknowingly create the wormhole instead of destroying it. In 1953, young Helge wakes as a wormhole opens in the bunker, linking him to Jonas in 1986. But Helge is transported to 1986 and Jonas wakes in a post-apocalyptic Wyndon in 2052. And that's where this chapter of Dark leaves us: time loops, vanished children, and a Wyndon that seems to stretch across decades, tying past, present, and future together in ways no one can fully escape. Stay tuned for Season 2. Like and subscribe for more recaps, and turn on notifications so you never miss a twist.